Hey guys, I'm Mike, and with the Justice League around the corner, it's kind of amazing to think that this movie has been in development for like over a decade. We could have had a Justice League movie before the Avengers, and directed by the guy behind Mad Max to boot. Sadly, it never came to be, but that's just one chapter in the long, prestigious history of the Justice League. Today we're taking a behind-the-scenes look at how the JLA made it to the big screen. So we're not going to go into every storyline and roster change-up over the last 57 years, but we'll start with an overview of how they made their mark on the comics. The Justice League was far from the first super team. That concept originated in 1941 with DC's Justice Society of America. The gathering of the Golden Age heroes was a huge hit and inspired the similar All-Winners Squadron from Marvel. Jesus Christ, that is a terrible name. That basically just sounds like what Trump calls his cabinet.
I know words, I have the best words, but there's no better word than stupid.
After revitalizing their superhero line during the Silver Age, DC brought the band back together with a brand new name. Justice Society was a little on the stodgy side, so editor Julie Schwartz came up with a new one inspired by the baseball boom of the 50s. There's the National League, there's the American League, and now there's the Justice League. The original lineup consisted of 7 popular DC superheroes: Aquaman, Green Lantern, the Flash, Martian Manhunter, and of course, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. The Trinity actually wasn't a big part of the team in the early days. They were members on paper, but more often than not, they sat on the sidelines as their less popular co-workers got the spotlight. During the 70s though, the League set up headquarters on an orbiting satellite and added lesser known heroes like Zatanna and the Elongated Man to the mix. After the Crisis on Infinite Earths reboot in the DC universe in the mid-1980s, the team reformed as Justice League International. The JLI was beloved for its humor, but as a super team they kinda lacked a punch. I mean, Doomsday utterly annihilated the whole team with literally one hand tied behind his back. And after a bunch of spin-offs, including Justice League Europe, Justice League Task Force, and the 90s-tastic Extreme Justice, DC consolidated their biggest stars back into one team. Grant Morrison's legendary 1996 run of JLA brought the Trinity back into the mix, adding much-needed power and prestige back to the Justice League. After he left, the group went through a series of upheavals, including the controversial Identity Crisis storyline. After Infinite Crisis climaxed with nearly every DC hero in history being deputized into the JLA, it was definitely time for another reboot. So, in 2011, DC reset their continuity again with the New 52, spearheaded by a blockbuster new Justice League series from Jeff Johns and Jim Lee. Judging from Cyborg's place on the roster and an emphasis on Jack Kirby's New Gods lore, it looks like the New 52 League was the blueprint for the upcoming movie. But before we get there, let's talk about the League on TV. Like most DC heroes, the League got their start on the 1967 Filmation series, the Superman Aquaman Adventure Hour. It was an anthology showcasing a bunch of DC heroes, but the League only teamed up for 3 segments.
Next time we meet, let it be in peace and friendship. Let's go, Justice Leaguers!
Then, in 1973, Hanna-Barbera brought us one of the most memorable incarnations of the team ever, the Super Friends.
Together they form the world's greatest force, dedicated to truth, peace, and justice for all mankind. These are the Super Friends!
This cartoon ran for 13 years in various different forms, and despite terrible animation, embarrassing stereotypes, and repetitive plots, Super Friends is still chock full of nostalgia.
Moments later, at the Hall of Justice, headquarters of the Super Friends.
Seriously, keep an ear out in the Justice League movie, because there's no way Joss Whedon can resist a reference to the Wonder Twins.
Wonder Twin powers, activate! Form of an ice pole.
The League's live-action debut was in a TV special called Legends of the Superheroes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the world's mightiest mortal,
Shazam!
And as we've seen in yellow spandex before, it's the first appearance in the flesh for quite a few DC characters. It also served as a reunion for the cast of the '66 Batman show, so if you ever really wanted to watch Ed McMahon roast Adam West in a bad-fitting batsuit, here's your chance.
Look at all those capes. This looks like Truman Capote's closet, doesn't it?
The League returned to the small screen in 1997 in a comedic TV pilot based on the JLI era.
I'm working at the Meteorological Institute and have a little accident, turn into ice, and suddenly I'm part of the Justice League.
The thing was half mockumentary, half Friends, and topped off with a dose of Schumacher-era superhero campiness. It was so bad, it never actually aired in America, which means we never got to see Major Winchester from MASH with his gut painted green as the Martian Manhunter.
As you can see, we met before.
A few years later, in 2001, Bruce Timm and Paul Dini created arguably the greatest incarnation of the team to date, the DCAU Justice League. From the CGI opening, incredible animation, and awesome voice cast,
anything I took was freely offered. Maybe you should take better care of your stuff.
this was the first show to really make the team feel like a pantheon of gods and icons. After 2 seasons, the show became Justice League Unlimited and added dozens of classic DC heroes to the rotating roster. After Unlimited ended, the league had more animated adventures in shows like The Batman, Young Justice, and the new Justice League Action, not to mention a zillion direct-to-video movies.
Flash, my boy, great to see you.
As far as live action goes, the last time we saw the Justice League on TV was, where else? Smallville. After the Flash and Aquaman showed up in earlier seasons, the team was officially formed in 2007, and from then on, they were all over the show. We even got a rare Odd of Comics appearance from the Justice Society and a 2-hour episode written by Jeff Johns.
No more waiting. No more pairing off. We should have stuck together from the beginning.
That wraps it up for the TV version of the Justice League, and all that's left are movies. Well, one movie and a film that never quite got off the ground. In 2007, hot off the success of Batman Begins, Warner Brothers began pre-production on a movie called Justice League Mortal. The script was loosely based on Mark Waid's Tower of Babel storyline, where villains hijack Batman's paranoid contingency plans and use them to take down the team.
None of us would ever do that to you.
Then you're damn fools.
Mad Max visionary George Miller was hired to direct, and Warner Brothers rushed the movie through pre-production, hoping to avoid an imminent writer's strike. They cast pretty much the entire team, including Armie Hammer as Batman, Common as Green Lantern John Stewart, and Jay Baruchel as the villain, Maxwell Lord from the JLI days. Fury Road's Megan Gale was tapped to play Wonder Woman and even shot a bunch of test photos in her completed costume. Unfortunately, they couldn't quite get the script perfected in time, and the strike ground things to a halt. WB was still gun-ho on the movie and wanted to release it in 2009, but plans to film in Miller's native Australia fell through thanks to issues with red tape and tax loopholes. It's all about the taxes. In the meantime, a little movie you might have heard of called The Dark Knight. You guys ever hear that?
You complete me.
Well, it became a cultural phenomenon at the time, so DC changed their minds about releasing a team-up movie with a completely different Batman. The Justice League project was shelved until Nolan's trilogy ran its course, but after the Avengers paid off Marvel's shared universe gamble, DC was just kind of sitting there thinking, me too. So they made a plan and put their faith in one man and his mighty sweatpants, Zack Snyder. Man of Steel's gritty, desaturated vision got a mixed reception from fans, but DC powered through and followed up with an even more controversial Batman v Superman.
Why did you say that name?
Which one-upped Marvel by having their post-credit teaser in the middle of the movie. But if you're not a fan of the first few DCEU movies, don't despair.
I've killed things from other worlds before.
Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman had a whole lot of heart, and given its success, it looks like Justice League is going to shift tone to match the optimistic, fun world she created. Not to mention the fact that they brought in Joss Whedon to rework the script and finish the film. He's definitely added some much-needed humor to the dour DCEU, and who better to pull off a superhero team-up movie than the guy who absolutely nailed the very first one. From campy cartoons to big-budget blockbusters, the Justice League has been a part of our pop culture for over a half-century.
Look out! Here comes the Justice League. They'll be meeting in the Hall of Justice. Bring all your superheroes.
And today, the stakes have never been higher. The future of the DCEU depends on the success of this movie. But if anyone can save the universe, it's the Justice League. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I'm super excited about Justice League, and if you are too, you should totally check out our Yellow Spandex playlist. Kaya and Versha dove deep into the costumes of literally every member of the league, so you should definitely give them a watch. In the meantime, let me know what you think about Zack Snyder's sweatpants in the comments, and as always, please subscribe to Now This Nerd.